Hello, everyone. It's now the 7th of November. The election was on the 3rd of November, 4 days, and we still do not definitively know who has won the presidency, but we have a pretty good idea it's going to be Joe Biden, at least officially. However, Trump continues his legal battles against the official vote counts. He says widespread election fraud has cost him the election and the presidency. And today we've learnt about what's so far, to me at least, the most plausible way in which that may have happened, if indeed it did happen. This is Political. We're still on our Election 2020 series. It's still happening. Before we get into this, if you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. Give us a like, give us a comment. If you check back, look at our other videos. We pretty much always have a lot of comments, and we're always replying and having good conversations and stuff there. So if you do have a question or something, let us know. We will always reply. But honestly, best thing to do, we always say it, I think every YouTuber says this to be fair, share the video if you want to help us out. If everyone shared the video, then we'd massively increase our audience. So if you do want to help the channel, that is the best way to do so. So
help you defeat the lefty agenda.
Exactly. This is a culture war. This is a culture war. And sharing the video, that's the equivalent of, just opening up a supply line for our side. Okay. So, yeah. So let's jump into it. So now, many of you would have recalled that there was this very suspicious county in Michigan called Antrim that Trump won very convincingly in the last election, that suddenly flipped towards Biden in a sea of red counties up in the north of Michigan. And everyone was like, well, hold on, that's a bit weird. Well, it turns out it's because there was a glitch in the software system. So Michigan's Antrim County flipped to a win for Donald Trump after an election software glitch was fixed today. Revised totals now show that Trump won by an estimated 2,500 votes. Michigan's GOP chairwoman Laura Cox is calling for 47 other counties in Michigan, that's about 2/3 of them, to closely examine their results for similar discrepancies. But wait, there is more. The voting software is called Dominion, and this software that was used in Michigan, that had the 6,000 voter glitch, is used in 30 other states, including Nevada, Arizona, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. Hold on, they're like all of the swing states. Here's the map of where it's used. It's used, in most states across America. And Trump's attorney, Jay Sekulow, I think he's how I pronounce it. So he says that manual recounts may be required in 30 states after reports of the glitch, so that he wants them to recount the votes that were counted by the voting machine. Because obviously there may be glitches elsewhere in some of these other states, in some of these other counties that we just haven't noticed. What do you think?
Well, it's clear, isn't it? We've got 30 states here, and they're all using this software that in one area alone miscounted 6,000 votes and attributed them to the other side. That's insane. Anyone who knows anything about software, it isn't just localized, is it? It's not just like, oh, this happens in Antrim County or whatever it was, and nowhere else, just because, I don't know, the magnetic poles are in the wrong place or something. It's very clear there's a problem with the software. You have to go and you have to eliminate the software as a potential creator of or a potential threat to the democracy. It's happened. So what they have to do is they have to go, and every single place they're using this software, they have to recount it. I think you'll find there's a hell of a lot of more votes for Trump coming out of it after this. That's what I think you'll find.
Okay. I think what's interesting is, we only noticed this because it was in a rural county that, it didn't have too many. I think I had maybe like 15,000 votes or something like that total. I don't actually know off the top of my head. But the point is, we only noticed because it was a clear outlier. Let's say you've got a voting machine in a county like, Detroit or whatever. I know Detroit's not a county specifically, but in the Detroit area. And, you're tallying up hundreds of thousands of votes. You're not going to notice 6,000. So, what's interesting to me is they only noticed this. They only noticed this because someone pointed it out.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference, in your Detroit example, between a 95% Joe Biden take from those votes and an 80%. That's the difference between Trump winning Michigan or Biden winning Michigan, isn't it? It really is. In an election where the margins of victory are so narrow, I don't understand how anyone can dispute a manual recount in these states, because in order, and it benefits Democrats too, by the way, they have an interest in Republicans accepting Biden's supposed victory. So prove that it was done correctly. And you have this machine here, this useless piece of software that's producing huge swings to Biden. You go and you vote Republican, and it gives you a vote to Biden. You have to address it. I don't see how you can't.
Yeah, as you said as well, just before we start recording this, Dominion. It's like they've deliberately named it like some like evil organization or something. I think in Star Trek that's what one of the enemies are called. One of the main enemies is called the Dominion. So it's not very appropriately named, or maybe it is very appropriately named. I don't know. What's interesting is these voting machines. I just learned when before we came into this video are. They're not like standalone, just disconnected from everything, and then they just have their software installed and they count the votes. They count the votes and the ballots. Because obviously, if that was the case, then that would make you'd be like, okay, well, yeah, okay, it's probably just one glitch in one software. Maybe it didn't update or whatever properly, whatever it is. But all of these machines, they're connected to the internet. They're connected to the internet, and I think even in Texas, they actually. Refused to use. I don't know if it was Texas, but they refused to use them because they were a bit concerned about some of the security issues that they had with them being connected to the internet, which means that obviously there could potentially be some backdoor into the machines. I mean, I guess really then you're talking about some grand, subvertive plot, but for me. Having some kind of software glitch or whatever in voting machines is a hell of a lot more plausible than having, like 30, 40, 50, 100 people inside a big voting station or whatever who are all like, oh, yeah, we're just going to, secretly be doing this and we're not going to add this vote, but we're going to throw this one vote away or whatever. Now, I'm sure that there is the potential for that to happen, but I said at the start of the video, this is the most plausible scenario in which I could see that there could have been election fraud. And I think that makes sense. Voting machines, just the votes are still going in as normal, but just they're saying that the outcome is different than the actual one that it is. But you're right, they have to recount these now, surely. What if there are other glitches that we haven't noticed?
Absolutely. And I mean, as you say, they are the Achilles heel in this, aren't they? They are the I mean, the system of counting votes manually, okay, there's 300 years of kind of mechanisms around that have built up over time, so we know how to look at that and we know how to analyze it. But technology, using computers, using the internet, it's still relatively new. We don't have all those oversights. We don't have the experience we've had to allow us to look at these things and instantly build up the laws necessary to protect against this sort of thing. So it is a very acute loophole, and it doesn't require anyone to be malicious, does it? One lazy programmer, if you have a system that's 2 million lines of code, and one line in that is responsible for votes being recorded differently, no one's being malicious there. Or even if someone is malicious, it takes one programmer with a slight Democrat bias who thinks, okay, I'm going to do this, and no one can detect it. It gets through oversight systems a lot more easier.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you as well, just someone with a software and engineering degree, I can give a little bit of insight into this. It would be significantly more than a couple of million lines of code. You're talking tens of millions of lines of code in this
E-
software.
Even better then.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, I don't want to jump to any conclusions and say, oh, well, look, here it is, the smoking gun, the definitive proof. This could just be one glitch, an outlier. It's not happened anywhere else. It happened in this one place. That's certainly possible. I'm just thinking from a logical perspective, the more people you have in on the conspiracy, the the higher chance there is that, someone's going to find out. Just tell that to Guy Fawkes, right? But this is a scenario where you don't actually need that many people in on it. So for me, this is the most plausible way in which there could have been some form of voter fraud. And I hope they do the recounts, manual recounts, that they should do, really. I feel like in many ways they have a duty to do so. At the very least, pay very strong attention and scrutiny to these voting machines and have another look. I don't even think that would be enough, really. I think really you do have to do the recounts. Yeah. So do you have anything to add from there, or
No.
no?
Just to kind of illustrate that point again, it really is so important to eliminate any possibility, because if you don't do the recounts now, then how do you accept Joe Biden as your president when he won by 6,000 votes in your state? You can't, can you? It's a very tough ask indeed. So I think definitely you have to eliminate that possibility of error, do the counts again without these crooked voting machines, and put everyone's mind to rest. Even if it takes days more, which we don't like. But
yeah, exactly right. I mean, 6,000. Hold on, that's how many Joe Biden's winning by in Georgia. So, and obviously we were wrong. We said Trump was on course to win that. Well, no, Biden's ahead by 5,000 votes. Well, hey, 6,000 votes in one of those counties.
Not wrong yet.
We'll see, I guess. So we didn't account for these voting machines in our analysis. So, yeah. So, listen, that's what's happening right now with this. We'll let you know on any updates as and when they do come in. I'm trying to kind of break it down because there's just so much like legal talk and all of this that's going on. But because we're kind of obsessive about this kind of thing, we sit there and we just sit and read until we actually have an idea of what's going on, which I understand not many people have the time to do. So if this is something that sounds like you'd like to watch, then please do consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.